Canada interest rates sprung up months after months. Can real estate market in the Greater Toronto area continue to recover following August, or it's going to go back down again? Hi, my name is Priscilla. I am your real estate broker in GTA. Today, let's take a look at the newly available September Toronto Real Estate Board Market Watch Report. So like in the previous videos, I used two graphs to reflect the market. The bigger chart is September, and the smaller one is one more month ahead in August. So we compare the big to the smaller one, we see months over months change. Together, we study 5 metrics. So under each one of them, we see a wide percentage number. So that's the observation periods, year over year change. All right, so now let's first take a look at the average sold price in the whole GTA or across all property types. This number arrived at 1.086 million in September. This is a continuously another 0.7% increase from August. August was the first month to recover ever since the first increase rate in March. So after 5 months decline in August, this is the first time we had a slight recovery. In August, it went up 5,000 from July's 1.074 million. Okay, so both September and August, the recovery is very moderate, but I want to emphasize the trend because this is already not the first month. If we look at the transaction, however, the market is still very inactive. We saw some sort of like warming back up again in August because the transaction volume only dropped 1/3 comparing with the same period last year. However, this trend stopped. We went back down to losing 44% comparing with September last year. So I can see that this is because the seller side and the buyer side, they are still fighting against each other. None of them is agreeing to the market price. The buyer wants to maybe wait a bit further for the price to drop. But for the seller, if no one is offering the price I want, I would rather not sell it. Or because of the very hot rental market, some of the seller, they're listing the same property under both selling and rental. So if nobody's paying the price I'm willing to see, I'm just going to lease it out. So that's why we see that the new listing is really decreasing. Later, I will show you a chart to see that all these months, ever since March decline, the new listing hasn't really increased comparing with last year. They are just every month is on par with last year. However, this month, we see 17% drop comparing with last September. So we do see that some sellers, they are getting on their foot and they're holding their properties back up and waiting for a better opportunity, better price. However, because the market is really inactive, there's not so many transactions. So even though there are not so many new listings, we do accumulate a large number of active listings. We see that there's almost half, like a 50% increase comparing with last year. So this is still very strong buyer's market. The buyer do have a lot of choice to choose from. And the inventory also went back up again. We see in August, the inventory is decreasing from previous month, July. But then in this month, in September, it went back up to 2.7 months. So the market dynamic is quite interesting. On one hand, we see not so many sellers is willing to put their properties on the market. But on the other hand, there's not so many transactions because both parties, they want to wait and see. Another evidence that the market is still a buyer's market, the buyer has a lot of choices and they are really taking their time to choose, is that the average days on market now is 23 days. So this is 64% longer than last year and 1 day longer than last month. Again, 22, 23 days, I wouldn't call it a very long, unusual days on market. But comparing with the end of last year or early this year, we sometimes see single digit days on markets, like 7 days, 8 days. This is almost threefolds. So in average, it takes over 3 weeks for a property to be seen and purchased by a buyer. I do want to point out, though, if we take a look at the city of Toronto, you'll realize that other than the most expensive property type, detached, all the other property types, semi-detached, freehold townhouse, condo townhouse, and condo apartment, they all had a quite strong rebound from August. Actually, August, some of them already went up from July. So if you see semi-detached went up from 1.127 million to 1.21. And for freehold townhouse, the increase is even more significant. It went up 93K from 1.1 to 1.19. Condo apartment, same thing. For 700K something price, we had over 30,000 increase. So it's quite visible in city of Toronto that there's a quite visible recovery. Today, I want to share with you one more set of data. We are looking at the sales volume comparing with the number of new listings every month, starting from the beginning of 2021 until right now, September 2022. So for 2021, you see the whole year. For 2022, we see 9 months. The blue bars are the sales transaction volume. The lighter one is 2021 and the darker one is 2022. The orange one is the number of new listings, the new listings entering the market each month. And the lighter one is last year and the darker one is this year. So we all know that the peak of this year happened in March. Both the transaction volume and sold price had its summit. But on March, that's where the first interest rate raise happened. So up until now, we already had 5 times increase. I believe our prime rate now is at 3.25. But what I really want to draw your attention is that if we compare the new listings coming to the market each month, you will realize that we actually don't have more sellers wanting to get rid of their properties under the fear of the market crashing. So we can observe actually March and April, you have less new listing comparing with last year, but then afterwards, May, June, July, August, we're almost identical comparing with last year. However, in this month, we had a quite visible drop. There's a 17% decrease in the new listings. So what I want to say is that people would think that under such a huge pressure of interest rate raise, and actually we probably have another one or even twice before the end of this year. But still, there's no sign to show that sellers are panicking. They try to quickly get rid of their properties. No, we don't see that. In fact, now we see less sellers are willing to sell. So that's why in frontier, in some of the cities, I see those very affordable price range properties, such as townhouse or a smaller size semi-detached. The seller often on offer review, they receive a dozen of offer, close to 20. So I think this is because there's still a demand in the market, mainly driven by the newcomers, but then sellers are not willing to sell. So again, there's some tension in the supply and demand side, although the market actually has 2.7 months inventory. Okay, this is very interesting. I leave for you to see how the market will turn, because remember, we do have 2 more times interest rate raise before the end of this year. So let's watch and see together how the market will turn. This is the end of this video. If you have any recent sell or purchase plan, please feel welcome to talk to us. We'll cater the strategy just for you. See you in next video.